Do you remember buying your first car, moving out of home for the first time, losing your virginity, your first heartbreak, maybe even that first drink? These rites of passage help shape who we are and mark important transitions in our journey through life.
My first experience with cigarettes, oh God, I don't know. I mean, the area I grew up in, it was probably in grade 5 or 6 that I probably had a puff off a cigarette, but didn't really get into it. But I think probably in junior high, I was, smoking cigarettes, not on a regular basis, but smoking cigarettes.
Young age as well, with my friends, somewhere where our parents wouldn't see us secretly, and I think I was 12. And I think my friend and I, we smoked a cigarette in like 30 seconds flat, because we thought we just had to like suck it really quick. It was disgusting. I don't smoke. The reason I never really liked it, my father was a big smoker, like 2 to 3 packs a day. And thank God I didn't really get into it ever. It wasn't my thing.
I was about 17. I was visiting my sister aunt. She was working at the hospital. I was taking over her job while she went on holidays, I think. I was doing something in the office anyway for a summer job and hanging around with her friends. And they're all 9 years older than me, right? So I think that's when I first smoked. Dizzy.
My mom smoked like when we were young and when we were growing up, so they were always like around. So I think I was like 8 or 9 years old was probably the first time I tried a cigarette. It was like one of Mom's cigarettes. I remember taking one and like running outside with it and like hiding around the house and trying it, yeah.
I tried them once when I was a kid. I remember a friend had them when going down to a dock, and we were fishing down here in Fort McMurray and tried a cigarette for the first time and hated it. Maybe I've tried smokes a couple other times since then, but I've never been a smoker and realized very early that it's not for me.
I remember sitting in my parents' basement one evening, and I decided my parents weren't home. I decided I was going to have a drink, so I poured myself a shot of rye with ice. I think I must have seen one of my parents do that. And I stole one of their cigarettes and I lit up and I had my drink and my smoke, and I remember throwing up and feeling horrible. And despite that, I think I persevered with both of the drinking and the smoking activities for longer than I care to admit afterwards.
I was probably about 15 years old when I had my first cigarette. And yeah, I coughed like a fool and I got dizzy, and I think I even threw up. But I ended up smoking for several years. And then I found out I was pregnant with my first child and said to my husband, "Okay, we're driving across Canada. We just found out I'm pregnant. You're starting a new job. I'm not going to know anybody. I think that's a lot of stress, so I will quit smoking when we arrive in Alberta." And I did. That was May 1st, 1986. And I haven't smoked since.
Actually, I remember once trying it at my babysitter. She used to smoke in the living or the kitchen, and we'd be in the living room, and she'd leave her cigarette on the table in the ashtray. Then I'd try right after her because I wanted to know what it was like. But other than that, in junior high, I smoked for a while with my friends. So I didn't like it, but I just did it.
I remember, trying to see what all the fuss was about in that stupid teenage rebellious phase where you thought, oh, maybe there's something to this, but no, it made me feel sick to my stomach, and I realized that people are crazy to smoke them.
My first smoke, we were in grade 5, and my friend Kathy, her mom smoked Viscount Extra Mild, and I remember her bringing a pack of cigarettes to school, and we literally smoked at the backstop for the baseball diamond, which was like, I don't know, a few hundred meters from the doors of the school. But I think at that time, probably all of the teachers were also smoking in the staff room. This would have been in the 70s, early 70s. So yeah, Kathy had this pack of cigarettes in the, mid 70s. And Viscount Extra Mild There we were trying to make the smoke come out of our nose and thinking we were cool in grade 5 smoking cigarettes. I don't smoke now. I did socially smoke. I'm glad I don't smoke anymore, but yeah, starting at grade 5, when I look at us as little kids sitting there smoking at the backstop, and I can't imagine why we didn't get caught. I mean, we were smoking in the schoolyard and it wasn't a very big school.
Everyone smoked except for one other girl named Natalie. So it was me and Natalie were the non-smokers among the smokers. And I thought, you know what, I'm not gonna smoke. Like, me and Natalie, we don't smoke. And then I remember one day, I went over and Natalie was smoking and I said, like, what are you doing smoking? And she just said, you know what, like, you know, F it, like, I'm just kind of a cigarette I need when I'm stressed. And I'm like, okay. And it was shortly thereafter that I eventually just said, hell with it. You know, everybody else is smoking of my friends. I might as well smoke too. So, you know, I just started smoking. That was like the beginning of the end because then I continued to smoke throughout my high school years, you know, and then eventually I realized like, this is not good and I quit.
It was probably about grade 8. My grandpa used to smoke and we'd go steal cigarettes from him and then bike across to the park and go into the bush and smoke these menthol cigarettes and feel like puking after, but just continue to do it anyways, trying to be bad.
I tried it one time and I got sick right after. I think I like inhaled it and then I was like, gone, done, no more. That was horrible. I think my parents were there and they said, I told you so. I never tried it again. I was like 14 or 15, I think, when I did that. So it was a good lesson.
When I was in grade 8, everybody smoked. All of my girlfriends smoked. They all thought it was cool. And I hated smoking. My mom was a smoker and I was always, you know, feeling super sick when I was around her just from the smoke. But I thought because everybody else is smoking, well, I'm gonna try it. So my friend Heidi, who at this point in time in grade 8 was pretty much like a seasoned smoker, tried to convince me not to try smoking, but I said, no, I'm gonna try it, I think. So I think my mom had cigarettes in the freezer and we ended up stealing a pack. And she was kind of trying to coach me and show me how to smoke, but I was just putting it in my lips and kind of like breathing in, but not actually inhaling and then blowing the smoke up. So she started laughing and said, that's not how you smoke. So I said, well, how do you do it? And she said, well, take a breath, like inhale some of the smoke and then take a second breath without breathing out. And that's how you inhale. So I thought I would be, you know, super cool. And I took a huge drag of the cigarette and then took an even bigger inhale of breath and started coughing so hard and puking everywhere. It was horrible. So I actually never ever smoked after that.
I think it's okay sometimes, you know, young people, you know, to try these things, but it's what you do with that experience after, whether you continue to try it or not.
To watch more stories or share your story, visit us at yourfirstkiss.ca.